And first step before working on any firearm is make sure it is free and clear of all ammunition. So first step would be remove the magazine. Here's the magazine release on the LORCIN series of pistols. It's located in the rear of the grip area. It operates in typical fashion. You would just push in on that, and that would release the magazine. And as you can see, the magazine is free and clear. Now, there is no slide lock on the LORCIN series, so on the last round fired, the slide will not lock open, and there's not even a manual lock. So you would need to pull the slide back while looking in the chamber area to make sure it is clear of all ammunition. So make sure your finger stays off the trigger. You can pull the slide back and check into the chamber area, and as we can see, it is free and clear of all ammunition. So we can go ahead and take a look at the other controls and features. It does have a safety right here. It's currently on the fire position, which the safety is pushed down. To put the safety on, you would lift up on that, and now it says safe. Now this safety will lock the slide from being able to be pulled back, and then it also locks the trigger and sear assembly to lock it in place so that the firearm will not be able to go off. So we'll go ahead and put that down on the fire. It has 3-dot sights. They are cast into the frame. They're not adjustable. And that's pretty much it as far as the controls and design features. So now we'll take a look at the disassembly. This is our disassembly button right here. Now there is a little hole that's in the middle. That's actually to tell you if your striker is in the cocked position or not. Currently it is not in the cocked position. I'll go ahead and cock the slide back. And this now cocks the striker. You can see the back end of the striker through the hole there. So if it is cocked where you can see that, the first step would be to release the striker, to release the energy on that spring. So pointing in a safe direction, you'd pull the trigger, and that releases the striker. So then you can go ahead and proceed with disassembly. Now, this is the disassembly latch right here. You would push in on that while at the same time pulling back on the slide and lifting up on the slide. Now this is under spring pressure, so you need to make sure you kind of keep a hold of it as you do all that. Now it's helpful to have a tool of some type so you can push in, because it has to be pushed into the frame or into the slide like that. So with making sure you're keeping track of all that, otherwise it'll go flying on you. You push in on that while lifting, pulling back on the slide, and lifting up. And then once it's free, it just will slide off the barrel. So take a look at the frame first. There's our recoil spring that will just come out. Now if you notice, there is another spring in there. That's a buffer spring. You should just leave that in there. The recoil spring just goes over that. This is our sear right here that catches the striker. When you pull the trigger, it just pulls that down. The barrel is a fixed barrel. This is our disconnector right here, that when the slide comes back, it disconnects the trigger from the sear controls right here. So really, this is as far as you would want to disassemble any of this. If you remove this grip panel here, the fire control parts, the trigger bar, the disconnector, these parts here, this grip panel and the slide itself are what hold those parts in there. So if you take this grip panel off, all those parts come out. And I do not recommend you do that. You need to make sure that they are put in the proper order and correct position to ensure that the firearm will function and be safe. If any of this is moved out of position, the firearm might be unsafe or might not function at all. So this is as far as you should really take it down. At this point, you could get to everything to clean it. You can get into the barrel, the outside of the barrel, you want to clean it, the inside. Wipe all of this down. Now if you notice here, these were just a painted finish, and it's just a cast, that zinc alloy. The barrel is steel, but the rest of this is that zinc alloy, and it's just wore the movement of the slide has just wore the paint off, and it's actually gouging into the metal a little bit. And there again, these are not meant to be a real durable firearm. They work, however, they will not take, you know, thousands of rounds of firing. They're just not designed for that. So that's as far as you want to go with that. We'll take a look at the slide now. Now here was our disassembly button. You can just pull that out, and it's right there. Then we have the striker spring, and then we have the striker itself. And it all goes into the slide just like that. So you'd want to clean everything off. There's no other disassembly or service to do with the slide. This is our extractor. It's pinned in right there. Now the extractor can be removed if it's damaged. However, there again, the slide is made out of that zinc alloy as well, and it does not take to repeated assembly and disassembly. So you want to leave those pins in there unless something's broke. So you can get to everything just fine to clean it. So you basically want to scrub everything down, give it a light coating of oil for lubrication and corrosion prevention, and that's pretty much it. So for reassembly, put your striker in first. It goes in like that. That's the firing pin right there. So that goes in first. Then you have your spring. Then you have the lock piece. Put the recoil spring over the buffer spring. Now at this point, you would put the barrel through the opening in the slide there. The recoil spring will end up sitting on that section right there. So you then pull the slide back. Now once it comes back, you need to then get your little tool. You'd push in on that assembly button while pulling the slide back and down, and then it should come back flush with the back. So once that's in place, do a function check. See, our striker is locked back, so you can go ahead and pull the trigger, point it in a safe direction, pull the trigger, hold the trigger down, pull the slide back, make sure that the striker did go into the cocked position, make sure the trigger goes forward and that it resets, and we're reassembled.